Hi guys, welcome to episode 2 of The Secrets of an Independent Estate Agent. Today I speak to Rhiannon from Alexander's in Aberystwyth, a small one-branch independent estate agency in Wales. Rhiannon and I go through not only our views on the industry, but also how she uses content to engage with her community and uses social media to do that. So if you're an agent that's really struggling with that element to it, this is a great episode to watch and I hope you enjoy it. On this episode today, I'm with Rhiannon from Alexander's in Aberystwyth. Rhiannon is a client of ours. I've started to see her amazing content that she's been pumping out for our system. So I really wanted to get her on camera and basically talk about how she makes awesome content and how it gets out into the local community. So welcome, Rhiannon.
Hello, thank you for having me.
So it'd be great just to actually explain to people who you are, what you do at Alexander's, how it came about, and obviously how you started your career in the estate agency.
Okie dokie. So hello everyone, I'm Rhiannon and I am a marketing consultant at Alexander's Estate Agents in a tiny town called Aberystwyth. So I started at Alexander's 3 years ago. Before that I was working in a local newspaper selling advert space. So one day I was walking down the street and I saw the poster in the window that they were looking for a lettings consultant. I jumped at the chance. I thought, oh, okay, yeah, there's something new and exciting I'll do. So handed in my CV. Furthermore, then I started working there. And then I realised soon after that I was terrible at being a lettings consultant, as my brain was just not configured in that way at all.
So did you have different perceptions on what it was to be a letting agent or an estate agent from the outside as when you started to work within the industry?
Yep, so the industry is a lot harder on the inside from what it looks like on the outside.
Yeah.
I think I'm definitely an example of that, where I thought that it was going to be, let's take someone to view a house, they want to go for it, we'll give them the keys, all sorted. That is what people think it is, and I can tell you, as you know, it is definitely a lot more than that.
I remember having an interview with a guy once who basically said he went to university and he saw an agent turn up in a BMW.
Right.
And he liked the BMW, so he thought he'd get a career in a estate agency so he could have a BMW.
Well, if you're successful enough, then go for it, you know.
You said you were newspaper advertising. Was that to what sector was that in? Did you actually sell to Derek and Layla, or was it?
Yeah. So the newspaper is a local newspaper for the town itself. It's called the Cambrian News, and I had the opportunity to meet a load of the local businesses before actually starting Alexander's. Alexander's were not in my sector in the newspaper, they were in somebody else's sector, but we always used to say, well, they never want to advertise in the newspaper. Why is it that this estate agent doesn't want to advertise with us? And I didn't know the answer until I started working there. The reason being is because the online market and the digital marketing is just far more beneficial for estate agents.
And so when you started obviously as a lettings neg or consultant, you obviously realised that was maybe not the right career for you.
Yeah. So
what made you realise that?
Well, I'm a very, very creative person. So throughout school and university, I did art and design. Estate agency was never on my list of things to do. I always knew that I wanted to do something creative. So when I went to the newspaper, I thought, okay, I'm in the good field here, adverts. But being as a lettings consultant, very quickly, they could see that I wasn't fitted to that role. I kept changing the window cards. I wanted to do the photography, the website design. I kept butting in all the time. And I think they realized that I had an itch that, I needed to do something. So at that point, I had all these ideas that I wanted to pump into the business. It took me a year. It took me a long time to realize how to market an estate agent, because it's very different to what I've ever done before. You have to learn how to market a sales property compared to a lettings property, what audiences, students, residential, things like that.
And it must have been nice for you to have the owners seeing that same as you to that as well, because like my background, obviously I was always seen as the crazy one, which probably the association with yourself as well.
Yeah,
People want to just slightly make little changes here and there, but it's perfection
it
to better your brand and not just stay stagnant.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nice. How did that come about with them? Is it more of a conversation of did you come to them and it was gradually an evolution saying like?
It was, yeah. It was a chat that we knew that it wasn't working. I knew it wasn't working for me being a lettings consultant. And I think it was me just asking for a chance really to show them what I could do. And, you know, thankfully they did. They agreed. And all three of us, myself, Layla and Derek, all sat down and came up with a great campaign. So the campaign that I'm on about in particular, 3 years ago, we came up with the campaign Support Local, and it was about supporting our tiny town and all the independents that were in it. So we decided at Christmas time to give away 24 gifts that were from local independent shops that were all struggling the same as us. Now this all came about during the time that Purple Bricks came on the scene, and we were panicking. We thought, that's it, no one's going to use High Street anymore. Everyone's going to sell a house online. So when we spoke to other independent people, they felt exactly the same. That's it. Everyone's going to buy their Christmas presents on Amazon. No one's going to use independent. So we took that opportunity to come together as a town and a community and just promote it so much that it went crazy. It absolutely flew off the handle. I think our Facebook posts ended up in Scotland. It ended up, I mean, from being a tiny town in Wales for a Facebook post that wasn't boosted to end up being shared in Scotland. I think we were very happy that Christmas that we've been noticed in Scotland. I mean,
you're only in the negotiator. Was it last week, the week before?
Yeah.
About similar sort of thing in this time now.
Yeah.
Local shares, such a big thing community-wise, because you pretty much like now where agents aren't able to do the transaction, they're now having to understand that there's that marketing side of community and business and trying to get out there with an identity. You started this way in advance.
Yeah, well, it's
community
all
project.
about awareness, isn't it? We're up against 7 other estate agents on the same street. It's really difficult. We're all targeting the same people. So we thought of something different. We thought about a personal way to get to know people, and social media was the best platform to do that. We were being social on social media. That's what it's used for. Times have changed. Times have changed so much that people used to phone and ask for details on a house. They used to email. Now I'm finding that people will personally message my Facebook page because they know who I am now. They know that they can talk to me. They know that they can talk to my colleagues because Facebook is about being social. Talk to me, ask me, I'll send you anything. I'll send you the video of the property, no problem. But everything has changed so much. You can send videos via WhatsApp to people now.
Yeah.
It's a lot more personal than it was a few years ago.
Because do you find with obviously this new model that's coming through, they're talking about like an umbrella model with the personal brand expert agent. You've effectively still got that within your company. Because I think obviously Layla and Dirk have allowed you guys to have your own individual creativity on whoever wants to be at the front of it has that. I mean, I've seen some of those campaigns at Christmas and they were phenomenal, especially being at Iceberg now. Obviously, I met Derek when I was still at my old company.
Yeah.
Be able to see on the receiving end of it what you've been generating traffic wise.
Yeah.
It's been awesome. What I loved about it is that by you, rather than thinking it's all doom and gloom, you've gone, right, let's try and see how we can be creatively different to direct ourselves away from that, sort of rather than driving down fees, everything's thing, talking about them, and actually getting the whole community to rally around with you guys. And no one else is ever going to replicate that. You can't get the other 6 agents can't stop bringing it out, because even if they did try and bring it out, it would always be, Alexander's the one that started that. They were the first to do that.
So right, it has happened though, believe it or not. But people have said, yeah, but Alexander started that first.
Yeah, and you'll always need it. I think so many people fear being the first, out of either scared of putting their head above the parapet and being like, we're different.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, they will try and replicate someone who's being different if it's starting to work well, but then they're always going to be in the shadow of that individual.
Absolutely. I remember the day that the very first video we did, and Layla will agree with me, she was so scared. It's the newest thing we've done, and being in a tiny town, you know, everybody knows everybody's business.
Yeah.
Everyone knows who you are, and it's great. You can walk down the street and say hi to 5 different people. It's a great place to live. But we were so nervous for doing it. We were just like, this is so different to what anyone else has ever done before. But we were so pleased that it went so well, and that, you know, people are starting to emulate that. I mean, go for it. Take the idea and do it yourself. By all means, if it's helping the community, it's helping us.
Yeah.
Stay as a business and stay open. We're all targeting the same people.
So in my town, they had a similar initiative. I was a part of a community. It's called the Business Improvement District. So I served on a board to improve our city. I've levied tax money raised on it. And one of the guys on the board did something similar. He was working for a creative digital design agency in the high street. And he basically did a secret Santa for all businesses. You were given a place you had to go and buy for another business.
Lovely, yeah.
All wrapped up. And he even made a Santa's grotto in their basement of their office premises with a fake fireplace, Christmas tree, and filmed everyone dropping off their presents. And then for a whole day, he went round to hundreds of businesses.
Yeah.
Secret Santa, dressing the Santas out there, being filmed and basically doing it. And then obviously he then created it into a piece. And it was such a creative way of doing something different, but still benefits the community.
But like, the worst thing that makes it good is that no matter how small or no matter how big, or the bigger the heart that you give out, and the more, I mean, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but basically,
it's genuine wanting to help people.
With everything that we do, we're not trying to gain business from it all the time, but we want to be known. We want to be known so that when you come to sell your house, you're instantly going to think, Alexander's. How about those people that did the 24 Days of Christmas? How about those people that did the campaign for period poverty? How about those people that did all these different campaigns and were there for other people? Why don't we sell our house with them? They know what they're talking about.
Yeah, because I think we've experienced it. We can see it more, obviously, in what we do. But there's agents, I do think they struggle with their identity in that awareness, interest stage.
Yeah.
Of either marketing out to the community that's not just basically, do you want to list your house or do you want to sell it? Do you want free valuation and just pump that stuff out? And also, people getting to know your brand without being shoved a sales message down their throat.
Definitely.
And I've always had a love of social selling. I did so many things at my old company. We did I walked on fire. We used to run the vintage tea fairs for our local hospice, Christmas things. And people are like, why are you doing that? Like, why are you supporting that? There's some old people going to that and they're not going to be selling their house soon. Why are you doing that? It's just like, well, it raised, like, one year, I think we helped raise £80,000 for a local hospice. Like, that's the part that I get the benefit of. Yes, if people see us, that's the great part, but at least we're getting known to be something, to be for a good or greater cause than just being seen as the typical estate agent down the high street where people just think you're just trying to shaft them.
I mean, the stigma with estate agents, I mean, I did not know until I'd been there 2 years that apparently people hate estate agents. When someone told me this, it was a massive shock. I did not know this. So I've been working in an office where apparently I'd been hated through the window.
Yeah.
So, I hope that what we've done will lift that stigma and that people will actually get to know the people behind the glass, because we are just people. We want to help, you know, whether it is, it's hard because as I said, we're up against 7 to 8 different estate agents on our street and we are the most expensive. So in terms of, you know, having that chat about fees, people, it doesn't matter. If we're able to sell your house for you, if we're able to do a good job, then fees shouldn't matter.
So where do you get your creativity from? Like, what's made you change to maybe even especially into a estate agency? Where do you get your inspiration for that marketing? Is it just...
Good question. I don't think I know myself, to be honest.
No?
I read a lot of books.
What type of books do you read?
So obviously the Mark Burgess one. I've read the Daniel Priestley one, but like I like to read factual books and things about marketing and things about how the world is changing. I find IT very, very interesting. It's just fascinating to me how something a computer has just made marketing go off the scale completely. But yeah, I would say that, you know, reading books and I'm sitting there underlining things, and just
so constantly developing your own self though.
Yeah, and just being on LinkedIn as well, you know, because you can be on Facebook and you've got your family, you can be on Instagram and be spammed with pictures, but LinkedIn, you're with a completely different target audience there. You're with people in the same industry as you, going through the same things, talking about their problems, talking about their successes. And it's just nice. It's so lovely to meet and talk to other estate agents that are in London or in a tiny town in Yorkshire, and they are having successes or failures, and we can share that, because you can't do that here in Aberystwyth. You can't go to an estate agent down the road and say, oh, how are you doing? How's it going? Because they're going to just say it's great. They're not going to tell you the truth.
And that's it's quite nice, obviously, with our community, Lifecycle community group.
Yeah.
Trying to emulate that whole, like, let's just share some ideas in our weekly, 2 weekly meetings, and just like, that's what I mean. We've seen that with yourselves and how you put some of your stuff in there. Absolutely. And obviously it just helps share content around pretty much around the different parts of the country, but you might just take a little tweak with that and think, okay, I can still use it. I mean, one of the guys put the Easter egg hunt in there a few weeks ago, and everyone loved it.
It was great.
So what's your best tools that you've used in marketing?
Well, I can't tell you them all because they're my secrets, but Facebook is definitely the best thing in the whole wide world for estate agent marketing. The best thing I tell myself and what I tell other people is that scheduling your posts is so important. You obviously look at what your audience are looking at specific times. For me, the most important time is the 5-minute gap between when EastEnders finishes and when Coronation Street starts, because people are on their phones like this, on their phones during the advert, and that is when you hit them with an advert. That is when you say, hiya, and they're like, oh, okay, and then Coronation Street will start. As soon as Coronation Street ends, they're back on their phones on the sofa. That's when you hit them again with another advert.
So you must have worked out pretty much almost your type of target audience.
Yeah.
To then work out when you think best to start posting out content.
Yeah, of course. I mean, there's plenty of parents out there that will probably see a post at 3 a.m, and people will say, well, why have you posted at 3 a.m? And I'll say, it's because they're doing the night feed. They're sat there feeding their child, doing the night feed, and then they'll have a quick look at their phone. And that's why. You're targeting parents that need to either get a bigger house or even downsize. You don't know. They could be on their third child, and they're thinking in their mind, I need a bigger house.
So and how do you measure your marketing?
What do you mean?
How do you measure your response rates?
By the amount of people that talk to me, I think.
Yeah.
I'll go by, people that ask questions, people that are interested. If I've put something out on social media and I get a response from it, I know I've done well. And then it'll be the long game. If they're not ready now, they will be in 3 years' time, or they will be in a year or 12 months. And that's when it'll turn into a conversion.
Yeah.
But for me, being the person that they can talk to now is so, so important, because in a few years' time, or when they are ready, or if they know somebody that is ready, they will recommend me, not no one else.
And that's probably a little bit of the benefits of the platform.
Yeah.
Like Lifecycle, because it has that long term. It
does. It's the long game.
Reconnect. They keep seeing you out there. You can see what the response is. You can see that whole level of it. Because I think there's a lot of confusion. I think sometimes between nurture journeys, an association with a marketing funnel, an association with content, an
Yeah.
association with Facebook funneling, and people just associate that like, oh, I'll just get an instant valuation tool, I'll boost it out, I get a load of people, I call them up, and then I'll put them in a drip campaign, and that's it. Like, that's all I need to do because I'm going to earn loads of money from that. But every estate agent is pretty much doing the same thing with pretty much the same message.
Yeah.
So I mean, we talk about it a lot, and I'm sure you probably agree with it. Again, but going back to the whole, there is no market, active market, there's no dormant market, it's just a market.
Yeah, it's throwing a big net out and catching all the fish.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, some people are coming to you straight away, but like you said, the amazing branding that you're doing in the awareness front are pulling people into that funnel in the initial stages with nothing selling related to it at all. But only your content's producing that funnel to push people down into consideration, awareness, and that sort of part to it. But you have to still continually think of the content, don't you?
But I mean, a few years ago, as you were just saying about how every estate agent was doing the same thing, putting an advert out there that wasn't targeted to anybody, it was just there, and anything that you used to catch with that fishing net, you would then put it somewhere else and hope for the best. We did that. We are, you know, you have to learn. You can't just do it and hope for the best. You learn by failure. You learn by all these different things. So you've got to try them in order to establish where you're going to be in the next 3 years.
Because I think that's quite what I found quite interesting is now you have the ability to almost see what content isn't working and what content does work.
Yeah.
And work on actually, like, at least I now know I'm not going to spend more thousands of pounds or hundreds of pounds on an advert campaign, realising actually no one's actually interested in that particular campaign. The audience isn't resonating with it. Where, like, some of our agents have had in the past where he said, like, they've spent hours creating a campaign, sent it out, and it still failed. And they've spent 30 minutes thinking of something that's really sharp, sent it out, and been like, oh my God, it exploded. So it is literally like a trial and error with certain parts.
Always trial and error.
Isn't it? And I think it's almost being a bit like, don't overthink it, because you'll just spend hours overthinking it, weeks, months, and then by the time you get it out, it would have gone beyond its time.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, you guys pump out loads of content, and it works so well in your capacity. But I think what I've noticed with you guys, you got a structure in place for all of that.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, so I have specific things at, as I was talking about, the peak times. Our audience is on our page. So at the minute, I think I've got 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and 8 o'clock. Obviously, it can change very, very quickly depending, well, with everything that's going on at the minute, it's changed drastically because a lot of people aren't having a lunch break at 12 anymore. They're having a lunch at 2 in the afternoon, or their breakfast is at 11 instead of 8, or they're not watching telly because there's nothing on at the minute. So at the minute, we're trying to adapt our marketing and our brand based on what's going on with our target market in the world as we speak right now.
That's awesome. It's almost like working out your distribution, isn't it?
It is. It's hard, but as soon as you've nailed it and you think, okay, if this is not going to work tonight, then maybe tomorrow night it might be, I'll put it as the hour later or the hour before, see how it goes. You just got to do it. Like you said, trial and error.
And do you find there's any different marketing between vendors and landlords?
Yes and no. I mean, the same, you all want the same thing at the end of the day. The landlords want you to let their house and the vendors want you to sell their house. So as long as you give good customer service, I think that's the main part of the job. Customer service is massive. You know, you can try your best, you can have the best tools in place. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And as long as you're honest, and I mean really honest with your vendors and your landlords, then it shouldn't be a problem. I don't think you'd ever lose them. So
you're basically saying you like honest landlords and vendors who watch Coronation Street and EastEnders.
Well, they can say that they don't, but secretly they love an episode of EastEnders.
Yeah, exactly. So what 3 things do you feel the industry needs changing?
One, I would say the stigma. I think that people need to get over this. Estate agents are scary. They're trying to take your money. They're not honest. Because we are just people. We may be behind the glass on with a fancy desk, a fancy computer, in a fancy suit or dress. But we are just people that want to sell your house. We want to get to know the history that you've shared in that house. We want to know what family you have. We want to know everything about this house that you're trying to sell and why. What's your journey? Where are you going? Can we help you find somewhere else to live in the process? So that's one thing I would say. Change the stigma, because we are just normal people. Two, I would say that you can try and sell your house online. You know, I am worried that, well, I was worried. I'm not now. I was worried that we were going to end up where everyone could sell the house online by themselves, that they wouldn't need an agent. But the one thing that we all have now that online market doesn't have is data. We have so much data that we can help with the house hunting and anything like that. So I would say that, you know, that's another one. And the third one, what would you say? What would you say?
I think, for me, I think I've always believed that customer service, being excelling in that exceptional service, is where I think the industry needs to change.
Yeah.
I think unlocking your data, like you said, to actually physically use your data, not just it stored somewhere, but you can actually excel in that. And also, I think you need to change it. Everyone needs to have their own personal identity.
Yeah, definitely.
You probably wouldn't have probably said that because you've already established that.
Yeah.
But I think as an industry, everyone can tarnish themselves with the same brush because of how they act.
Exactly. So based on when I was talking about number one, stigma, with the personal identity, the more honest and the more you get to know your clients and be there for them as an actual human being, as a person, not as an estate agent.
Yeah.
I think it'll help you in the long run. It'll help you a long way because, you know, they'll recommend you to other people, and then, you know, it goes on and on, doesn't it? I mean, good customer service is always the best, you know, tool that you should have. If you don't have good customer service, then it doesn't matter that you're the best photographer. It doesn't matter that you're the best videographer and that you've got a copywriter and you've got all these fancy things, the fancy computers, the fancy offices. It doesn't matter. If you don't have good customer service, then it's all wasted.
And do you find that comes from has to come from the owners? And then they have to then push that out and find the right staff.
Find the right staff. I believe that people...
Because I've noticed it with you guys, like, I haven't met Leia yet, but I've been chatting to her a lot of time on Facebook and bits and pieces. I've met Derek.
Yeah.
He's naturally a warming person to engage with. Then I've met some of you guys before, and you can see it's resonated of you guys being a similar sort of set in how you communicate with people.
The one thing that I can say about the team that we have at Alexander's, we all love our job. We love it inside and out. Each person has a specific role. And of course, if someone was to get hit by a bus tomorrow, I'm not saying it will, but you never know. Someone else can, you know, do the job that somebody else can do. But each person is targeted to that role. They love the role that they're in. And by that, we are all cogs in a wheel.
Yeah.
One person gets taken out, the whole team will just collapse. Not massively, but you'll miss that person.
I think, yeah, but you're right in that, because I think you might, what we find, I found, I've seen a lot of the industry on the outside of it all now. You have someone has a particular, no different than what they've done with yourself, really. You're a lettings consultant, negotiator. They realise that you aren't that right cog, and there could be another cog to be put in there. And they realise your strengths are actually in this marketing part. So you've slotted into that cog to then actually the lettings negotiator ends up getting the viewing to actually from a landlord to do it. So it all works in a sync. But I think so there's a lot of in the industry where as a negotiator role, you do loads of different things and you don't be bespoke on one or two or three parts to that process, which then affects the service levels of actually communicating with people.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we all love our jobs, and I think with everything that's going on right now, and we are the only estate agent that is taking the leap and working from home voluntarily, you know, it shows that we want this to continue. We want to still be here. We still want to have jobs. We still want to help people throughout this pandemic, and hopefully we'll still be there when it ends.
So where do you see the industry going then?
As our business, or just the industry in general?
Industry in general.
Well, without life cycle, I think the industry may turn to like a travel agent, where people can book their own holidays online and not go into an office to see a travel agent anymore. It'd be the same. I think people could sell their house easily online, but what they don't have is the data. And that's where life cycle comes in very, very important to all of us. I think now that this is implemented, we are able to continue with our jobs. We're able to continue to make a change, and this is gonna make sure that the industry doesn't disappear.
Hence why I've been doing my 5-hour round trip every day to try and help others understand the same journey that you guys are going on.
It's a great journey, and I would recommend it to anybody.
Perfect. Appreciate your time today, Rhiannon.
Thank you for having me.